She said, "Why are you in a picture with my boyfriend?" Imagine. Imagine. Not even, "Look, Han, sorry to tell you I've been seeing your boyfriend." No, she thinks that you were the side chick. Sitting on somebody's face feels a lot more invasive to you, and I don't know why, because it should feel more invasive to them because you're on top of them. But hi guys, welcome to Love What Luck. Hope you all had an amazing Easter break. I'm honestly so sad that it's ending. So by the time this comes out, it'll be Tuesday morning, the first day back to work for most of us, officially the end of Easter. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, 4-day weekends do not feel long to me. They just feel perfect. I've absolutely loved it. I've done nothing really but eat chocolate. Well, that's a lie actually. I've had quite a busy weekend, which I'll go into, I'm sure. But I've eaten a lot of chocolate, hot cross buns. I've just had a really, really lovely time. But honestly, I hate myself for a little bit. And I have grown, I have come a long way, but I still can't help myself that I'm recording this on Monday, Easter Monday, and honestly all day, literally since I've woken up, I've had like a little baby, I wouldn't call it like a cloud of doom, I would call it as if I can picture like death or like an evil person stood behind me in the corner of the room all day telling me this is the last day of the weekend and it's back to reality tomorrow. It's like everything I've done and I've gone to enjoy myself, I just had this little reminder, like this little Death Eater in the corner of my mind, and I've been all day like, be present. You know, you've got all day. I woke up early, I've been to the gym, what else have I done? I've had food, Matt's been home, like I've been productive, you know, and I've enjoyed myself, so why can't I shake this tiny little man? I used to call it, when I wanted to say cloud, is because I used to call it cloud of doom, and when I used to have my really bad anxiety, every Sunday, as I said, from the morning I would wake up, I would have what I used to call a cloud of doom, and I used to feel it come over me. Like physically, it would come all over me and I'd be like, oh no, it's Monday tomorrow, the weekend's ending, it's back to reality. I also sometimes, on really bad weeks, I used to sometimes have on a Saturday night, I would be out in a bar, enjoying myself, having a nice old time, and I would be like, it's coming, the cloud of doom is coming, and it would like go all over my body and make me really anxious. I'd be like, the weekend is ending, oh no. So I think I'm doing good because it's no longer a cloud, it doesn't consume me anymore, but I am aware this weekend of just a little Death Eater behind me on my shoulder. But anyway, if you're listening to this on a Tuesday, we don't want negative vibes, so happy Tuesday, only a 4-day week. Oh, do you know what? No, I'm not even going to go in with that. I'm saying happy Tuesday, let's seize the week, let's seize what opportunities and experiences are coming to us this week, and let's all have a good week. Right, I'm going to go straight into the story. I hope it feels very noisy in this room today, you know. There's airplanes going over, it's windy. I hope you guys can't hear it, but I was feeling really relaxed before I started recording. I'm literally recording in a hoodie with no top or bra underneath, which I never do. I'm in full relaxation mode. This noise is killing my vibe a little bit, but anyway, hopefully you can't hear it. Right, I'm going to go straight in with a story this week. 6 years ago, I came back from travelling, I got my dream job, and I was looking forward to settling down. I was a single girl, and I went to my cousin's wedding. I saw a stunning guy at the bar, muscly, happy, nice face, etc. And the next minute, I get sent over a drink by him. After the wedding, he had spoken to my cousin to find out who I was, tracked me down on Instagram, and messaged asking to meet me. We met up for drinks, hit it off straight away, but then he dropped the bombshell he was in the military. My friends had partners in the military, and I was not about that life, with them being away, etc. Do you know what, that is fair enough. I think that's such a hard commitment for people to do. I really take my hat off to people that do it. He wouldn't take no for an answer. He sent flowers to my work, kept on and on at me with messages, asking me to go for dinner with him. Eventually I gave in, fast forward, and we're together. It was going really well and we decided to buy a house together. Our families got on really well. It was honestly a fairy tale. We bought 2 French bulldogs, and as far as I knew, things were going great. He was in touch all the time whilst he was away and told me he couldn't wait to marry me and how much he loved me all the time. He came home for Christmas one year and we went out for my birthday, which was on New Year's Eve. I noticed he was on his phone a lot, even though we were all out having a great night. I just assumed it was work. However, his phone kept going off in the middle of the night, even when we were home, and at one point I did check it and I noticed someone saved under the name of John. However, when I clicked on the message, I noticed the display picture was actually a girl and the whole chat had been deleted. I woke him up and asked what was going on, but he said it was nothing and it was just because he was in the military and he had to keep everything confidential. I'm sorry, is that not the smoothest lie? I mean, I'm assuming it's a lie at this point, but that's pretty smooth, isn't it? This is why, like, detectives, policemen, MI5, all those people, top liars. Imagine, who is this person? Oh, Han, it's nobody, I can't tell, it was confidential. Can't tell, I'll get sacked. That is my mistress, but can't tell if I'm obliged to keep a secret for the country. You know, you could never question them. Where have you been? Can't tell, sorry. Confidential, Hans. It's confidential, it's for my country. You can't say anything about it. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm fighting for our country and for our rights. If it wasn't for me, we'd all be dead. So keep your questions to yourself and let me continue to cheat, please. That's basically the life of a cheater in the military. Anyway, I didn't believe it, but I didn't want it to end, so I chose to look past it. I'd invested a lot of time into the relationship, so I just chose to believe it. That made me really sad to read it, because that's like when you know in your gut that something's not right, but obviously she was so happy there, and when you haven't got proof, you kind of do just choose to look past it. I actually found that really sad. I thought we were going to move forward, but I couldn't get it out of my head. Even though he was being completely normal, still telling me he was missing me all the time and missing the dogs. He asked to take the dogs back with him after Easter, which of course I allowed. Over the break, I get a message from a girl called Joanna, but I recognised the picture straight away. It was the girl from the messages. She said, "Why are you in a picture with my boyfriend?" The picture she was referring to was when we were out over Christmas. I'm sorry. Imagine, not even, "Look, Han, sorry to tell you I've been seeing your boyfriend." No, she thinks you were the side chick. Somebody messaging you, thinking you are the one that's having the affair. That is just like a double blow, isn't it? That's a double blow. That's the only word to describe it. Like the double levels of shock there. I found her on Instagram and there they were, pictures of them together and loads of pictures of my 2 dogs. The man had taken his dogs that he shared with this girl and taken them to the new girl. Now, did he present them to her as a gift? The poor dogs, I mean, what must they have been thinking? They'd be like, "You are not my mother. Who are you? Where are we? And please take me back to mom." Like, I don't want to be out with this cheating bastard of a man. Please, take me home to my mother. Who is this strange woman? The dogs, bless them, they're probably traumatised. I messaged the girl back apologising and I said, "I think we've been played." I was never one to hate on the girl and she was so lovely. She was heartbroken, I was heartbroken. We had a really good chat. He told her he was a builder. The lies on that, that's a full double lie, because you're not even lying about the girl, you're lying. I can't imagine lying about my job, see. I really can't. Imagine me coming home every day and having to spurt a lie about my day. I would crumble under the pressure. I could never do it. I'm also so forgetful. I would like give it up so easily. That is like psychopathic behaviour. No, yeah, psychopathic. Is it? Psychotic, I think that's the word I mean. I had to tell her we had a house together and the whole story. We both came up with a plan not to tell him immediately. I love that. I love that these two girls have come together and they understand that obviously they haven't done anything wrong, and like the other girl hasn't done anything wrong, because literally neither of them knew about the other person. And I'm so glad that they took this road and not like, you know, the bitchy road. I'm just really happy that that's how it happened. Just giving the other woman, do you know, I can't even remember that film, but that's the vibe I'm getting. I packed up all my things and didn't tell him. He was intimidated and I didn't want to be in a position where I was stuck there with him whilst he was angry. I managed to keep my cool for 2 weeks. 2 weeks? This girl, honestly, you absolute queen. 2 weeks. I just don't know if I could do it. Even if I could try and not say anything, they would know that something was wrong. I'm really bad at hiding like how I feel. Wow. I sold everything I didn't need and slowly and surely basically started packing up her flat. Anyway, the girl messages me and says she's told him she's not very well and she's broken up with him. He comes home, I told him I knew everything and it was over. He spent weeks begging for me back. At one point I did go and meet him just because I loved him so much. We agreed we'd start things again, taking it slow. We'd previously been invited to a wedding, but I didn't feel like I could go even though we'd rekindled. I couldn't pretend that we were okay and be around other people. I told him I'm not going to come, but you will go and we talk when you come back. I don't like where this is going. So he goes, he's messaging me the whole time how sad he is I'm not over there, how much he loves me. Next thing, I get a phone call from my friend who is also at the wedding. He says he has just arrived, but he's brought a brunette girl. He rang up, got the name changed on the trip for the plane to another girl, a totally different girl from the other one, from the other girlfriend. A completely different girl that he knew from where he grew up. Weirdly, it was my cousin's ex-girlfriend. I'm sorry, what is this? What is this inbred story? I can't deal. However, she actually knew about me and didn't care. She went on my holiday that I paid for and was still waiting for the money for, and slagged me off the whole time. She was saying I was controlling and never made him happy. I can't deal with this girl. Like, I can tell that the girl that wrote this story, like with the way she reacted to the other girl, is like always like quite clear and understanding that the guy's in the wrong. But this other girl, to know that a guy's got a girlfriend and that they were meant to be going to this wedding together and to turn up and then slag the girl off, I just, even though I'm embarrassed, I would actually be embarrassed. I wouldn't even go to the wedding. If my boyfriend said to me, look, will you come to this wedding with me? It was meant to be with my ex who I broke up like 2 weeks ago, but I'm just going to get the name changed. Actually, no, because he's not, she knows, so he's not in corner the ex. Basically, my girlfriend was meant to come, but she's not. Do you want to come? I'd be like, excuse me, sir? No, I do not. Like, my ego, for starters, wouldn't be able to handle it. So the fact that she's gone, she obviously like doesn't care. She's gone in this girl's place and she's slagging her off. It's actually insane. Anyway, he came back, still begging me to take him back. And when I questioned him about taking the other girl, he just said, well, I wasn't going to go by myself. God forbid that. God forbid. I mean, we know he must have issues to have 3 girls on the go though. And ironically, but is also alone a lot because he's in the military. So can clearly be by himself because he has to be. So why have 3 girlfriends? Maybe it was just a big fear of always being alone. I messaged her telling her I knew and that it wasn't okay. She blocked me. However, I found out she was also posting pictures of my dogs. Guys, I can't handle the trauma that these dogs were going through. That's 3 mothers now. 3 mothers, 3 different homes, the confusion that they must have felt. A few weeks, so they've broken up now. They've broken up. She's actually broken up with him. A few weeks later, I went back to pick up a wardrobe from the old flat. Took my friend with me, and once we turned up, a card came through the door with my name on the envelope, but on the inside was the new girl. It was a thank you card from the wedding. I think that just sums it all up, she said. Imagine, she's obviously written on the inside of the card, right, we must remember it's the new girl, and then put her in the envelope and gone into autopilot, because they've obviously been known as the couple and that was originally going to come. It's actually insane. He begged and begged for my forgiveness, but I didn't take him back. I was heartbroken, but I got my own little house and worked hard for the longest time to settle myself down. He ended up marrying the girl he went to the wedding with. Wow. I feel like that, I think it hurts, but I feel like when somebody marries somebody that they've had the affair with, for me it kind of like almost justifies it. I think, okay, well, you didn't break up the whole relationship for nothing, like at least you're gonna get married. That's like, I would take a little bit of solace in it, even though I think it's really hard to accept when you're going in it. I think when you're like past all the pain, I would be like, right, well, at least they married and, you know, it was for good reason. One of my side hustles at the pub, I met my now husband, who is the father to my little girl, and we are super happy. However, most recently, my ex passed away due to a heart attack. Wow. And I went to the funeral. All of his friends told me he was heartbroken over our relationship and realised down the line that he'd made the biggest mistake of his life doing what he did to me, and that him and his wife had the worst relationship. She cheated on him 3 days after the wedding, and they never trusted each other. Moral of the story, Insta and social media is a lie. They must have obviously been posting how happy they were the whole time. And don't forgive someone that disrespects you like that, because there's always something better around the corner. She also said, I was heartbroken for the longest time and felt like I wasn't good enough, and I watched my life unfold because the new girl moved into my house. Within 8 weeks, the new girl was in the house after I had been there in a 7-year relationship. That's so hard. So hard. Oh, she also said that she found out when they were on that night out and she felt like he was on his phone all the time. He went off one time for ages and then came back with a big bottle of champagne. Turns out he'd gone to FaceTime the girl, the nice girl. Yeah, the original girlfriend that was oblivious. Absolutely insane. Anyway, she says, my husband is called John, which is the same name my ex saved his girlfriend in his phone under. How funny is that? Honestly, life is funny. But what I will say, and I think is always the best thing about these stories, there's happy endings. Like, remember when I said before that when I started I wanted happy stories and then I felt like they were all bad ones? I feel like now I'm getting bad ones, but like with super happy endings for different people, and I think that's really helping people. And I think it's just like really nice to know that you can be in like your deepest, saddest heartbreak and feeling like, you know, your whole world is obviously turned upside down and like there's no way out, and then, you know, in time you meet somebody else and you realise, oh my god, this is the relationship I was meant to be in. And yeah, I think it's a really nice feeling. She's obviously been through so much, that girl, but she actually voice noted me the story, and I can tell that she is obviously happy now and she's come through it all. And yeah, it just shows that time is very important for healing things. Right, okay, back to me briefly. I have had a very happy day because I checked Spotify. Now, you know I'm always on about my reviews on Spotify. Well, I think since last week it's gone up like 5 or something. I think I've had 5 reviews. I'm on 44 now. My next goal is 50. But it's pushed me up from a 4.9 to a 5 stars, and I genuinely couldn't be more thrilled and happy. I'm now on 5 stars, so I'm very, very appreciative. I'm very excited, and of course come and subscribe. I decided I'm going to do a giveaway when I get to 1,000 followers on Spotify. So if you listen on Spotify, please hit the follow button. Again, doesn't take any time. You know, you're not going to get like a million notifications from me or anything. It's literally just on Spotify. You'll just find out when I get a new episode. But I'm on 562 followers, and I've decided that when I get to 1,000 followers, I'm going to do a giveaway. That might seem like a while away, but I'm pretty confident we can get there. So if you enjoy the podcast, tag your friends, share it to your story, I don't know, share it to people. If you enjoy a reel, send it to them in their DMs, get the word out, because when I reach 1,000 followers, I'll do a giveaway. I'm thinking maybe like a voucher for somewhere, but obviously if you have any ideas of anything that you would like to win, then send them my way. I've done a couple of giveaways on my Insta before, but yeah, this would obviously be a really big one, so please give me a follow if you're interested. So I was out all weekend. Well, I was out the first part. On Friday I went to Leo, which was amazing. I went in Ibiza. I must have spoken about it. It was our favourite night, and they've just opened one in London, so that was a super fun night. And then we went out afterwards, and this is what spurred on the thought of the week for me this week. So I was wearing a dress, like a blazer dress from Zara, cream one, and it did have shoulder pads in. And we went to this party afterwards, and I could feel, now this hasn't happened to me for a long time, and I don't know if it's because I don't go out to clubs as much anymore. I don't know if it's because I've, you know, reached 30. I didn't think that people would still do this to me, especially now in these days where, you know, people, like, don't touch you anymore. What I'm getting at is basically, I was dancing, and a guy, faceless to me because he came from behind, came up from behind me and touched my waist down towards my bum, and I was like, excuse me, didn't know people were still doing this. One, because, you know, the whole, like, women stand up for themselves now, the whole Me Too thing, like, I just didn't think it was okay. I thought men knew now that it wasn't okay to just touch you without, firstly, without even seeing me. Didn't even see the front of me, didn't even give me the compliment of seeing what I looked like from the front. Just like, oh, she looks alright from behind, I'm just gonna touch her, take the risk. What if I turned around and he, like, really didn't like the way I looked? But it didn't matter to him. It says a lot about somebody when they just approach you from behind, unless he'd seen me earlier and I was none the wiser. Anyway, he touched me from behind, and I was like, excuse me. So I turned around, obviously, and he whispered into my ear, I like the shoulder pads on your dress. And I was like, so that's the reason you're touching up on me, because you liked my shoulder pads? It was one of the weirdest ways I've ever been chatted up. I like the shoulder pads on your dress. Well, sir, firstly, sir, you weren't touching my shoulder pads, were you? You were touching down on my hips. The shoulder pads are not there, hun. So firstly, let's just be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest with you yourself, that you don't want to come across as pervies. You're telling me you like my shoulder pads, when in reality, you're just trying to feel my bum. To be fair, I'm acting like aggressive now. I wasn't aggressive at all, because it was only like a little touch, and I actually just found it really funny. I do remember years ago, I'm talking like I must have been about 19, I was out in a place in Cardiff. Is it called Jumping Jacks? My Welsh listeners, you can let me know. I'm pretty sure it's called Jumping Jacks, random. Anyway, this rogue big club, which I felt like was near somewhere in like a bowling alley. I don't know, it was random. And this guy, as I walked past, like fully grabbed me, like fully grabbed my bum. And I love myself because I was only 19 and I was so brave that I turned around and like slapped this guy. I don't think I slapped him in his face. I think I just like pushed him in his chest or something. I was like, do not touch me. And I think back to that moment and I'm like, you go girl, 19, did not care. Didn't care at all. Love that for me. Anyway, the point is that the thought of the week this week is the weirdest or funniest chat-up lines that you've had, obviously spurred on by that experience. So I asked this on my Instagram and we've had some answers. The first one, I'm gonna say, is absolutely disgusting. I was actually disgusted by it. Can you believe somebody had said this to somebody? I should say, can you believe a guy had said this to a girl, obviously. This one guy said to me, get down on your knees and smile like a donut. I was disgusted by that. And firstly, can I just say, my first thought, and this might be a bit rude, is the hole in a donut is actually quite small, and if I was to hold my mouth like a donut, I would go as far to say my lips would be pursed and it would be small. So that's not even a compliment for yourself. If you told me to open my mouth wide like a clam or a bowl, fair enough. I'm expecting something large to come in. A donut, no thanks sir, I'd rather not. Politely decline. Outrageous. Wouldn't even find that funny, I'm not gonna lie. I would think that was too rude for me. This is a classic. Hi, can I just say we'd make beautiful children, can I buy you a drink? Absolute classic. Do you know, have I mentioned this before? I went through a really weird phase when I was in Stockholm where guys kept telling me that I had really good genes and I'd be a really good mother to their kids. And I was like, firstly, I was like 25 or 26 at the time. I was an absolutely like wild. I could barely take care of myself. I was like, you have no idea how bad I would be if I was a mother to your child right now. Very strange, that trip. I had it from a few people. You look like you'd be hard work. Okay, and firstly, so what if I am? Like, that tells me that you're intimidated by me. You can see my presence and you're just assuming I'm going to be hard work because I'm not going to take any of your bullshit. Well, if that translates to hard work, then yes, I am. Like, goodbye. As if that's going to work. If a guy said that to me, I would just look at him and I'd be like, okay, bye, sir. Like, bye. Somebody said, not mine, but my sister's. What's the difference between you and a pair of sunglasses? The sunglasses will sit higher up on my face. I can't. I actually can't deal with that one. That one. She put the sick face and was like, why do men think these will work? And I was like, that's actually disgusting, so vile. But now I've read that out loud, that's actually made me laugh a bit. It would depend on who said that to me. If it was like a funny lad who'd been like saying jokes throughout the night, I could laugh it off. If it was obviously somebody like, you know, saying it in a serious sort of creepy tone, then no, but still. Can I just say, I've just seen my response to the girl was, no, that is sick. Any guy that uses the word sit and on my face the first time I'm meeting them is a no from me. It obviously depends on mood I'm in. I'm either outraged or I'm like, actually that's quite funny. No, it is quite sick though. You know, people whacking out the word sit on my face in the first 5 minutes of meeting, like, it's pretty bold. Pretty bold. I do wonder, yeah, people must sit on people's faces the first time they sleep with them. Not like last week we were talking about different levels. I think sitting on somebody's face is probably level 1 these days, is it? I mean, I don't think I'd be shy to do it. It is weird though, because when a guy goes down on you, that and sitting on their face, even though like technically it's the same thing, sitting on somebody's face feels a lot more invasive to you, and I don't know why, because it should feel more invasive to them because you're on top of them, but for some reason it does feel more invasive to you as well, doesn't it, like as a female. I think it's just like because they're right up in there. Yeah, it's a lot. And I can't remember if, because I remember sharing this on my Instagram a while back, I'd actually forgotten until I shared it. You know, like when you forget something and then you do the same thing and you're like, I've already done this. But when I did it before, I shared the answers like on my Instagram. Matt Sadie Maltby, by the way. I do lots of polls and questions on this. Come and follow me if you don't already. So I can't remember if somebody gave me an answer on there before or if I've just seen it. But basically, there's a chat up line that somebody else has definitely said, whether they told me or whether I heard it on the internet before. But I've had this chat up line, I would say, at least 3 times. It used to be like the chat up line in the day. And it was, oh my god, have you got fake eyelashes on? And you'd be like, no. Obviously thinking that's a compliment. No, these are my natural lashes. And they'd be like, no, they're not. Close your eyes, let me see it. And then you close your eyes and they kiss you. I mean, it is borderline sexual assault, and it hasn't happened to me since I was about 18, and you know, it was a different time then. If a guy did it to me now, I would obviously get him thrown out. But that used to be like the chatter's line, and honestly, the first time I got that done to me was in Ibiza, and I loved it, and I actually did like kiss the guy. I appreciated it. Oh, another one I had when I was out was, he just came straight up to me and he was like, I don't even think he said I look nice. I think he literally just said, are you single? Like straight in there. And I said no. And he shook my hand. Was that like respect to you? Was that like good tidings, bless, live a blessed life, I'll see you around, never? I don't know. I was like, no, I'm not single. And he like put his hand out to shake, and obviously I shook it back, and that was it. I do think chatting up people these days is like quite hard though. I saw just a clip, I haven't seen it all, so I probably shouldn't even reference it, but I don't know why I've just put that up. But I saw a clip of Stephen Bartlett's podcast with the guy Chris Williamson, I don't know. And he said that, like he said, a percentage of guys now are worried that they're going to come across as creeps. Well, firstly, that's because most of them are. No, but I do think it's quite hard because there are so many creeps out there that it does like make it quite, not intimidating, but like if a guy comes up to you now, I think it's like, oh, what's he going to say? Like, what's going to come out of his mouth? So I actually think it's quite hard to chat people up these days, and I think that's obviously like an extra thing as to why people just do it on the apps, because it's like a safe space. Like, you know, everyone on the app is looking for it, whereas like when you're out, it's a risk, isn't it? You're going to go up to somebody, they don't want to talk to you, they've got a boyfriend, I think it's like a little bit more risky. So it's a hard old time out there. I'm trying to think if I ever like gone up to a guy and chatted him up. Actually, me and my friend were talking about this, we were laughing because our other friend was talking to this guy, like he was chatting her up. It seemed like a nice guy, and they were talking for ages, and me and my friend were laughing, and we were like, oh my god, when we were single we like didn't care. We would be out. I remember once being on holidays and I looked around and I was like, I want him, he's the hottest one here, yeah, I want him. And that's what we'd be like. She would be the same, so she'd look around, yeah, I want him, and we would just like stare them down. She was even worse than me. She went over to one guy once and was like, do you want my number? So yeah, I wouldn't say I'd chat anybody up, but I will definitely, like if I fancy somebody when I'm out, I am staring at you. I'm staring at you until you make a move. But if you don't make a move, I'm never going over to you. Like, that's where I draw the line. I'm still like a little bit old-fashioned, maybe you could say. I don't know if it's my age, I'm not Gen Z, I'm a millennial. So I'm still very much like, I will stare at you and make it known that I find you attractive, but I am not walking over to you under any circumstances. But yeah, that's it. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I've got a little idea, and I was like, am I gonna say it here yet? And I don't think I am, because I'm waiting for it to be executed. But I am realising that, like last week when I was speaking about spitting in people's mouths, and obviously my mother listens to the podcast and she texts me, and like already I've spoken about sitting on somebody's face, which my mother is again listening to. But I do think these things come up in conversation, obviously, so I am thinking of doing like maybe a little juicy additional episode where I can talk a little bit more freely about these things without fear of judgment. So that's kind of like what I'm thinking of doing, maybe on Patreon, but I will come back to you guys when I have that more secured, probably next week. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking of doing, just doing like a little bit more of a free episode, like as in free in terms of the way I speak, on Patreon. So if you're on Patreon, I know lots of podcasters are on there. If you're on there, please let me know what it's like. Do you subscribe to any podcasters on there? Do you enjoy it? Yeah, please come and let me know, because it's something that I am thinking about. And of course, I'm still here every single Tuesday for our episodes here. I absolutely love it. Please come and follow me, subscribe, come follow me on Instagram, show your support. It honestly makes my day. I had a message from somebody, well, it wasn't even a message, a comment on a post to their friends saying that they were obsessed with the podcast, and it genuinely makes my day. I actually screenshot it to my mother. And I was like, oh my gosh, somebody likes it. So it honestly like really makes my day. I really, really, really appreciate it. you know, if you enjoy it, like I said, just share it, come follow me, and yeah, I'm gonna stop now and wrap it up. Hope you all have a good first week back, and I'll speak to you next Tuesday.